Hey, welcome back to the Auto Club Famoso Raceway segment of the Baco Motorsports Power Hour. I'm Mike Griffith, longtime Bakersfield, Californian motorsports rider. And in this segment, we like to talk about, drag racing, because that's what we do out at Auto Club Famoso Raceway. And usually we have Blake Bowser in here, but Mr. Bowser is not available. That's him on the tractor there, and which he does out there at Auto Club Famoso Raceway, because you just don't sit in an ivory tower and watch things go on at a local racetrack. You work it. But he's down doing some college visiting, I think, with his daughter, who's getting up to thinking about going to college soon. So I think he's doing a few things down in Southern California and couldn't make the show. But anyway, we're coming up on the Red List Series. Will be coming up August 5th at Auto Club Famoso Raceway. And that's interesting. Jesse Ayua, I believe, runs that Red List group. He actually, naval officer, races on the K&N West Series as well, and has that series. It's an interesting series where they offer a lot of prizes, some racing prizes, and money for things like fastest female, quickest Japanese import, stuff like that. So you can enter that thing and come away with some money. Run 10.0, run 13.0, whatever. Street Tuners coming up on August 19th. Then it starts to get really busy out there. And with Blake gone, I put a call out to Dar Hawthorne, got him to call in. You there, Dar?
I'm here.
You're here. How would you describe yourself as your role in Dar is a devotee of the nostalgia funny car or the nitro funny car. What do we want to call these things these days?
I call them nitro funny cars because that's what they are. They're not a reenactment of things you would see in a museum. These are, purpose-built modern funny cars, basically with the same kind of safety regulations as the kind John Force runs.
Yeah, we got a picture
with a couple of small exceptions.
And this is Dar. Oh no, this isn't Dar. I've got this is a K9 with a proper ear protection out there at a Famoso Raceway. So, there's Dar. There, we got a picture of Dar here. So we want to get your lovely face on the Power Hour here. So,
yeah, with the old FH hair, huh?
Yeah. Well, we got you out here, and you've got a camera in your hand, like you might know what you're doing with it.
I use it a lot, and it's like I always bring two because you never know what's going to happen. But there's been a lot of things, going quite well, particularly in nitro funny car racing this year, and it's sort of, we're sort of entering, like a golden era. The nitro funny cars in this configuration have only been around since around 2003, 2004, when I think they had their first 8-car eliminator, Good Guys, and so there's a lot of there's a lot of good things happening all over the western United States and then in the east, in the Midwest as well.
And we could certainly change like everything. The nitro funny cars from that first 8-car eliminator field where there was an actual Mr. Wells and his funny car, and his steel-bodied funny car in that show.
Randy Walsh was in there, and Bob Godfrey, and George Doty. Moran. Well, you're really testing my memory here.
Yeah, so now we're coming up, and the reason I wanted to get you on the show is that we've been talking a lot about this because, obviously the March meet's the biggest nostalgia or nitro funny car, whatever, nostalgia funny car race in the country. And coming up in October is the California Hot Rod reunion, but lots of racing in between. A couple of weeks ago, you had a United Funny Car event up there in, was that in Spokane?
There was one in Spokane that was won by Danny Gerber in the Wasn't Easy Firebird first event that he ever won a round, and just also happened to win the race.
Yeah, and this last weekend there was a race in Mission Valley, British Columbia. If for those who don't know where that is, it's just Abbotsford, what's called the Fraser Valley. I have actually been through that beautiful part of Canada, just north of the Washington border. There's actually a border crossing there at Abbotsford and Mission Valley, and the air was really good. And we've got this up on our screen. If you could just show that, Chris. We'll talk about this. I've got the screen grab between Jason Rupert and Bobby Cottrell in the final, which is the quickest side-by-side, fastest side-by-side funny car race in history, was it not?
As far as I know, and I've done quite a bit of checking on it in terms of whether IHRA was ever quicker, but this appears to be the quickest one. And Bobby Cottrell just took over driving Bucky Austin and Mike O'Brien's car, and,
Right.
In the Northwest Hitter, and to run a 5:53, and in the previous round he'd run a 5:56. And also ran a 5:64 in qualifying, hitting 261.24 miles an hour. That's all in the mail.
Yeah, that's all in the mail. I think what's interesting here, because I got the screen grabbing the incrementals up, is that Rupert got the jump by 4/1000ths of a second.
Well, too, and it looks like Rupert was ahead barely ahead to half track.
Yeah,
and,
3:30
Bobby cut off.
and half track. But you can see the mile an hour difference at half track is interesting. 2:08 for Rupert and 2:09 for Bobby. So you can see Bobby was coming on, and at the end of the race, 2:59 for Bobby and 2:54 for Jason. But what a race! And what's this tell you about? We had Jack Beckman on a couple weeks ago talking about a variety of things as Fast Jack does. And one of the things was he's talking about the March meet because he's a fan of drag racing, past, present, future, the Nitro Funny Cars, the nostalgia movement. And he was talking about sitting up in the stands at the March meet and watching the cars. And he says, I may get into some trouble for this, but I think they need to slow them down just a little bit. So what's your thoughts on that?
Only if he slows down a little bit in the big show.
And you know what? He thinks they might need to do that. He says the crew chiefs are too darn smart for the sport.
Well, we certainly have some very smart crew chiefs, particularly with Bucky Austin and with Brad Littlefield and the brain trust that's over on Jason Rupert's car. I mean, the two cars that are run very, very differently. Jason runs a lower percentage of nitro and is able to run it a bit more like an alcohol funny car with a pedal clutch, and Bucky runs it all out with high percentages of nitro.
And the interesting thing is, the interesting thing is here is that the Bobby's a new driver for the car because it started the season with Chris Crable at the March meet, and a brand new car in Bucky's car. They went to the final and had a kerbang and a fire, and that was the end of the Crable-Austin relationship.
Right. And Bobby's a pretty well known A Fuel and 7.0 Pro driver, having won championships as well as a number of events at Auto Club Famoso Raceway. There's he's smart on his reflexes, great off the starting line, as well as being a really good mechanic. And so I know he's been a really good addition to Bucky's team in terms of a utility player who can step in and do just about every aspect of building a motor.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead and show those couple of slides. I think I've got 3 slides, kind of show what the Crable car here at the March meet was blue. People will remember. Now it's green. Bardal sponsored there, and here's a shot of Bucky and Bobby with the number 1 up with the win from Mission, and then I've got a shot of Jason Rupert from Famoso show his car. 2 of the fastest cars right now. They seem to have a little leg up on everybody, but you just don't know because it's racing and it changes from race to race, does it not?
Well, and absolutely. Up at the Seattle race at Pacific Raceways a couple of weeks ago, there is a photo, I don't think you've got a copy of it, but on the top end where it is lifted the blower and flames coming out from under the hood and out of the exhaust. And, look, they broke a lifter in the cam, one of those freak kind of, one of the low-dollar parts, very important parts, one of the low-dollar parts you've got in running an engine like that, and then came around to win the event up against Mike Peck and the California Hustler, another car, out of Paso Robles, who's, one of those contenders as well. They're running on the, 560s. They're not running 550s, but that is a rarefied air that only a couple of cars are running.
Yeah, and you said kind of the golden era. I see that the thing is that this kind of period of drag racing where they look old and we know they're all modern as can be, but the Good Guys has a show coming up. They're kind of dipping, which was the Good Guys were responsible for getting it off the ground and really gaining momentum, and then they got out of racing after just a horrible rain out at the March meet and ended up getting out of it. But they're kind of dipping their toe back in it. It's not a race per se, but a Chicago-style shoot-up coming up there in a few weeks, and then the IHRA is out of it, but you got the United Funny Car putting it on events. So why do you refer to it as a new golden era?
Primarily because we're getting so many races to go to. There's just a renaissance in track operators seeing that these are a viable way to get people in the gate with nitromethane, because NHRA will not allow people like John Force or Beckman or any of those guys to come to local tracks to test anymore. They've basically outlawed that form of entertainment.
Which we used to testing or match racing, right? Which match racing
is
so far gone. But
you're not allowed to run on anything but a national event track, and usually those are the Mondays after a national event, like a Denver or Sonoma. Stay over one extra day and test on Monday for the next event, because you're not allowed to go to any of these smaller venues anymore. And this kind of nitro funny car racing has filled in that gap. So Spokane's got 3 races. Seattle's got 2 races. Famoso next year will have probably 4 races, 5 races. And it's spreading also with the Drag Racing Online series that's in the Midwest and in Texas. So there's a lot of things that are going on. I mean, we have people like Paul Romine, who's a multi-event winner and national champion, IHRA champion out of Indiana, who's going to be coming out to the California Hot Rod Reunion. We got people like Michael Bartone, who's Tony Bartone's brother, who's with Sean Bowen driving, will debut their new car at the Boise Firebird race on August 10th to the 13th. So it's like there's a lot to see.
Yeah, and this year there was a little less because Famoso did not do the Saturday night nitro shows that they've normally done. Decided to back off this year. They had a lot of issues with trying to rebuild the tower and stuff out there, and so finally got permits and from a fire from just a year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago, yeah.
And then almost, thank God it didn't take out the regular tower. That would have been really devastating. But so the rebuilding out there a little bit at Famoso, but already Randy Winkle announced it, and I think the dates might change. But Dragfest, which was just another nostalgia type event, just I'm sure there's going to be some fuel altereds and stuff because that's what they do at those type of things. And then Blake said last week that there'll be some version of Saturday Night Nitro back next year. So as you said, lots of racing for this style of racing.
Well, and also if you look at Top Fuel and you look at Fuel Altereds and you look at funny cars that we're dealing with, they have all gotten their act together. There are much fewer oil downs than there have been in the past. There's a lot less carnage. Guys are sharing information back and forth to try and make the show better. And I think that's really been an important aspect of what we're all doing, is trying to make a very entertaining show with a minimum of oil down and car after car, and occasionally some awesome runs that are close to record setting.
Okay, Dar, I want to thank you for giving a calling in, and we talk a little nitro funny car action, and we'll see you here in October for the Hot Rod Reunion, maybe even before then as well.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some testing that'll be up there for, but check out bankshift.com and nitroreports.com, and there's lots of information there.
As there is, and I watched your show last week, really good show on the Nitro Report, so you might want to catch that. So, okay, thanks for calling in, and
all right, Mike.
We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Okay, that's it. Remember, August 5th, the Red List group out there at Auto Club Famoso Raceway. And we're going to take a break here and be back with the Kern County Raceway Park segment.